new interesting three-team cricket tournament that is supposed to be launched. The initial date was supposed to be for the 27th of June, but now we've got a letter or a press release from Cricket South Africa saying that it's going to be postponed, and we don't know quite yet when the new date is going to be. But I thought that we can get into a decent discussion about this and talk about the tournament, what we think about the teams selected, the format, etc. It's a new format of cricket again. And we have to see what we think about this tournament. So first of all, we know we're going to have guests on the show. Mpho is going to be on the show. Ravi is going to be on the show. And now I've obviously got my partner in crime, Dan. So Dan, how's it been? How's your week as per usual?
How's it, man? Thanks for having me. Hopefully we can figure out how this tournament actually works, so we don't look like amateurs here. But everything's good on my side, man. Keen to talk about this.
Yeah. So what you been up to this past week? Anything interesting?
I started watching Desperate Housewives, man. It's really good. I'm about halfway through season 2 now. I'm about halfway through season 2 now, and honestly, it's probably like after Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones and The Office, and House, it's like fifth best series of all time, bro.
I think we have to pray for you, Dad. Seriously, Desperate Housewives. We're not even putting a break on.
Bro, until you watch it, you can't give me shit till you watch it, man. I was like, fuck, it's good. Man.
I started. I think it's Mindhunter. I just started that now. Sure.
I've heard good things.
Quite intense. Obviously, I finished something that's a very teen drama, but I mean, it's 16 plus. So I don't understand why it's still teen drama, but it's called The Order. Second season came out now. Obviously, I've been watching it for a while. So, quite interesting show about the werewolves and witches and stuff. So I don't know how you say Desperate Housewives. I'm watching that.
I don't know. That sounds worse than Desperate Housewives, man.
Dynasty as well, which is, I don't know, I laughed at you for Desperate Housewives. But okay. Yeah, series. Thank you for getting me into Breaking Bad, because it's now one of the best shows.
Best things I've ever watched. Yeah.
So, guys, as you know, we're going to talk about this tournament. So I thought let's just get it early and get our guests on, because we got 2 guests on today. So obviously we want to be able to talk about it in quite in depth. So yeah, we're going to bring on Ravi, Reddy, and of course we're going to introduce you to Mpho. You know Mpho from previous times. We've actually had him on the show before when we spoke about our T20 teams. He represents quite a few people. Mpho, you just want to tell people who you represent?
Oh no, so I represent One World Sports Radio, which is the digital radio broadcast platform for cricket games. We do domestic, international games. We also tried our hands at Rugby World Cup last year and some Bafana games as well. But when the Proteas play, we're known as Guerrilla Cricket SA. We don't want to muddy the waters there. Part of the Guerrilla Cricket universe, and so we broadcast and we just have chats. And Ravi's been on there as well, and it's just fans talking about the game and commentating. That's what we normally do.
Awesome. We know where Ravi's from. We don't have to introduce him. Mr. Legends with Ravi himself. Ravi, how you been? How's your study going?
Oh my goodness, that's another rabbit hole I don't want to dare get into right now. But thank you guys for having me. I'm looking forward to getting into this. I have a lot of questions, really, more than anything about this. I don't know, but I think I'm standing with most of the South African cricket fans out there. All of us are still a little bit confused as to what's going on. But yeah, looking forward to having a chat.
Cool, awesome. So we all have questions and we all want to talk about this in depth, because from my perspective, it's just me. I'm just very excited about the tournament. I'm just excited to see cricket again. I mean, we know how we all got our fix of Premier League football. Some people have had a great, all right time. Some people have had an awful time. Brighton is a great team to watch play football. It's so amazing to watch.
It's starting already. I promise you, we're probably not going to talk about cricket at all today.
What's football, guys?
What is it? What is football? What is football?
think David Luiz is my next.
Didn't you see Arsenal's gutsy 1-2 loss away to Brighton? The boys showed a lot of guts. We almost got the point. It would have been a well-earned hard point and a much-needed point as well, but can't win all of them, guys. Brighton at home are like, it's a fortress. It's like going to the Bernabeu or you know. It's
Great way to look at it, Dan. Great way to look at it.
Look, Brighton to Arsenal, it's like Wolverhampton, Wolves is to United, right? I mean, they're
there you go.
For us, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yes.
But okay, guys, let's start talking about what we're actually here for. I want to start off by just giving some insight into the rules. So we've had Dan looking in the mirror all day, trying to practice how he's going to play in these rules. So Dan, can you maybe just give us a quick overview so that everybody over here understands how the rules work exactly with this new 3TC?
Yeah, look, first of all, don't lie. I read them about 5 minutes ago, but this is this is how it works. I think Ravi can correct me if I'm wrong. I know he's like a little cricket encyclopedia, but you have a 36 over game split into two halves. So you have the first half of 18 overs and the second half of 18 overs. And it works on a rotation policy. So in the first half, a team will bowl and a team will bat, and there'll be a team in the dugout, right? That will then rotate. So the team batting will face their 6 overs from the team that's bowling, and then they'll rotate. The bowlers will go bat, the dugout will come to bowl, and the batsman will go to the dugout. So that might seem complicated now, but at the end of the first half, each team will have bowled 6 overs and batted 6 overs, right? So we have a total of 18 overs there. That's the end of the first half. Then in the second half, the team that scored the most runs in the first half, in their 6 overs, will bat first in the second half. Obviously, it gives, the teams who are behind at the end of the first half, it gives them a chance to sort of catch up. They know what they need to chase instead of, the team who scored the most runs in the first half setting the target. So essentially, a bowler's allowed to bowl a maximum of 3 overs. Hence the need for 4 bowlers, right? You'll see each side has 4 batsmen, 2 all-rounders, and 2 bowlers, if I'm not mistaken. So each team will need to use their 4 bowlers, and they'll have to bowl, unless you want to bring on one of the batsmen to bowl. So it's gonna be difficult to follow, but basically what it is each team gets 12 overs to bat and 12 overs to bowl, and the team with the most runs after their 12 overs wins the game, I think.
Yeah, so that's what we all think. I think there's a confusion around South Africa about this whole thing, but I think Dan explained it quite well. Mpho, what do you think about this tournament, the format, first of all? Let's just talk about the format first before we get into the teams.
Look, I think the format is an interesting one. It looks last man standish, with the last batsman being the last man and having 2s, 4s, and 6s, always getting home, essentially like baseball. And you're just adding a third team. That's essentially what this idea is. I'm not trying to dumb it down, but essentially that's what the great idea is. You take 8, last man stands even has 8 players. 8 players, and everyone gets a go. Yes, and last man stands is 20 overs. But you do the rotation policy, as Dan has spoken about, and you come out with a gold, silver, and a bronze, which is what they spoke about, that it's a 1, 2, and 3. So if number 2 and 3 are completely out of it, they can still fight for the silver medal, essentially, which I find quite odd, but it's something that we're going to have to look out for. But I do think that the overs, the 36 overs, is a little bit too small. But knowing T20, which is 40 overs and that last 3 hours, I think that's what they were trying to get at with 36 overs in total.
Ravi, you were being obviously ideally a cricket enthusiast that has been watching for quite some time, and you love the traditional format, the traditionalist as you are. You love the traditional formats, etc. What do you think about this format right now coming into this new tournament?
I think, with due respect, I think Dan is the bigger traditionalist than I am, because I'm a big fan of T20 cricket myself. This, however, in the words of my new friend and acquaintance, AB de Villiers. It's absolute crap. Personally speaking, I appreciate the ingenuity. I'm an ideas guy. I love the fact that somebody came out of left field to say, you know what, we need to consider a new format just to bring the crowds in to get interest back into the local game. I think that's wonderful. But I just think that it's a serious deviation for what we've been exposed to for the last 10 to 15 years. If they were trying to bring this out to tackle the Goliath that is T20 cricket, I think they're well out of their depth, to be honest with you. I don't see this working at a global scale. I see this purely as an exhibition, once-off type of thing. And maybe there might be some minor improvements over down the line. But I don't just see this to be a sustainable answer to the problem we're having at domestic level, or to bring a globalized product that originated from South Africa. Personally speaking, the amount of time and effort they've invested in this, I would have rather have them do one of two scenarios. The first one being a highly amplified T20 match, where you could substitute a player when a team is in a crisis situation. That was something that was explored 15 years ago. The other one we could have looked at is imposing strategic timeouts, just like the IPL does at the moment, perhaps a little bit more spice, maybe more frequent strategic timeouts, something that could add a little bit of a deviation to the game in a very positive way. And if not T20, I think the Test cricket is something that is something we need to seriously work on as far as the Proteas outfit goes. England and the West Indies are going to be playing very soon. They understand that they need to get their guys out there to play a bit of red ball cricket. I think that should be the bigger priority while we got this window period now. And I'm just surprised that Cricket South Africa and the sports ministry, I think they're clashing right now about this, but they should have rather been debating about getting an actual international fixture in this thing. Because personally speaking, I think it's an absolute waste of time on all counts.
So before we get to Dan's comments on the tournament, I want you guys to please put your comments and tell us what you think about the tournament, and I'll bring your comments on the screen and we can all discuss the different comments. Dan, from your perspective, you're not a fan of the T20 game already. We know that. We've heard it in abundance. So you're talking on your tweets, etc. We've heard it in meetings. We've heard it we've seen it in various discussions that we've had. So your thought on this?
Yeah, look, there's two sides to this, right? So on the one side, I appreciate the effort put in by CSA to give us cricket during this time. You know, I can't, off the top of my head, I don't see any other countries really doing it. You know, has there been any cricket played during the sort of lockdown periods for the other countries? Have they done anything sort of for the fans? You know, so in that sense, like, it's really cool. You know, Cricket South Africa really put their hand up. They put some effort in and they said, like, yeah, we're doing something for you guys during lockdown. We'll televise it. We'll organize this tournament for you. Cool. On the other hand, though, the more practical sort of side to me thinks we've just been absolutely thrashed by Australia and England in T20 cricket. We've got an upcoming T20 series against India and a World Cup not too far away as well. And here you've got 24 local cricketers, probably the best 24, you know, barring a couple names here. You've got 24 awesome cricketers who are willing to play. Why the hell are you fart-arsing around with 8-man, 12-over cricket? You know, like, we've got a T20 World Cup upcoming. We're shit at T20 cricket. I can't remember the last time we won a T20 series. So why not take these 24, you know, facts are facts. Why not take these 24 players, make two sides, and let them play five T20s against each other? We were supposed to have played 5 T20s against the West Indies now. That was supposed to be our warm-up leading into the World Cup. That's gone. So what do? You take 24 cricketers and you're like, oh, cool. Let's make 3 teams of 8 and play 12-over cricket, you know? Do you think the fans would like the 8-man, 12-over cricket or 5 T20s played by the 2 best teams South Africa can produce? You know? So, I mean, that's from a practical standpoint, I'd much rather have seen that. two teams of 11 going at each other for 5 games. Let guys settle into roles, make the teams even. But like I said, cool. It's really cool of Cricket South Africa to organize something. They have no obligation to. It is lockdown. These players, I'm sure they're gunning to go though. But I mean, they're also enjoying their rest for a change. So two sides to it. I would have preferred to see some T20 cricket, believe it or not.
I think that there's some concern from Cricket South Africa side, the directors, etc., and the fitness coaches and the physios, etc., that there hasn't been much practice. So for something like this, it's just an exhibition, something fun, just to get their blood going. It's just a once-off thing. I feel like it's not like they're gonna have like a whole lot of different days of this. It's just gonna be one day, one match, just to get people back into the flow of things and get their blood boiling again. I think if I'm gonna look at it from a positive point of view. I'm always going to be the optimist in every single conversation, but I've tried to look at the positives about it, and I think it's just to get people a little taster of what a little bit of cricket that they have been missing for so long.
Yeah,
you can see how the Premier League is at the moment. I know we're not talking about Premier League now, and you can see that it's been split up into basically 4 different sections, so 2 halves. Each half is split up because of the amount of. I know. Soccer is probably a more intense sport, people would say, because of the short bursts and running, etc., etc. But I mean, they've split it up in that way, given more subs, etc. I would have liked to maybe see a tournament where we just maybe add more subs and make it friendly. This maybe tweak a T20 game and make it friendly, maybe, and have a couple of subs that you can have a full 11 of batsmen against a full 11 of bowlers or something crazy like that. And you can just sub out your teams, and we can maybe have seen more youngsters. Young guys that haven't played, the likes of Zubair Ramza that haven't been mentioned over here, the guys like Cheryl Kutsiak then come through, the youngsters maybe have a full 11 of bowlers bowl against a full 11 of batsmen or something crazy like that. And then switch it. I have a full 22 to squad. Each team has a full squad.
I'm sorry, I'm sure we're going to cut to Mpho just now, but I just want to say, you raised a valid point there. We invested again in players that aren't fully invested in the system. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about whether AB de Villiers should come back to the national team or not. I think this would be perfect just to get a proper T20 going, to see if he's still fit and ready and capable of playing at this level. But now you want to have a exhibition game, have a couple laughs, of which only 10 people in the press box will be entertained by. And maybe I'll watch it to see how it works, to be honest with you. But I'll hear Mpho's thoughts as well.
Yeah, we'll get to the teams and we'll chat to the teams now. I'm just going to ask you guys about we've all given our say on what we think about the tournament and the structure. Let's get into some of the comments quickly now at the beginning. We have someone over here saying, I reckon the 3-team thing was just some marketing for Rain. A weird format match would stand out more in people's memories and consciousness. What do you guys think?
I agree with Chris on this one. I agree with Chris on this one. I think Paul Harris, the CEO of Rain, he's a billionaire, and he came up with this idea. He's the brainchild behind this idea, and all the cricketing guys jumped onto it. I do think they could have pushed back a bit, but I don't think you could ever say no to a billionaire. And his ideas. It's also for charity. And I think that's one thing we need to understand. It's for charity. And yes, they're trying to start this. Essentially, they're not going to, I don't think they can ever play another version of this format going forward. But I do think it's a great game, as they say, for the kids to play. If you've got odd numbered teams in the league, but it doesn't make sense. You can still play 2-on-2. You should always try to play 2-on-2. And I think it's going to be raining 6s and 4s from the format style, because you've only got 6 overs, and that's all you want. It's just crowd entertainment. Guys that need to hit quickly and hit far. And also the injury thing, I think, Khalid, it's a big issue. But I do think that CSA should even consider going down up until September, October, a mini T20 tournament with 44 players, 4 teams in one city, and they play cricket, proper cricket, T20 cricket. But I do think this is just a one-day thing. I don't think it will ever be anything outside of that. And it kind of helps if you want to bring the Springboks in or Bafana in to make it kind of interesting and fun, like a Proteas Springbok game. And I think that's how we need to look at it. It's like Proteas versus Springboks, but
unless Trevor Nyankane is going to do a bit of a dance before he comes out to bat, that's the only time I ever want to watch a Springbok with that.
Don't be rude. Trevor and Nyankane could probably make our test side at the moment, guys. Let's not even
Plays on the V. Yeah, no, he's excellent. Eh?
We short a number 4 and a short leg fielder, guys.
We've got another comment here from Shayden. He wants to say that it's complete bollocks. If SS wanted some cricket, then 3 T10 games back-to-back would have sufficed. He had more to say about it. He said this will go down as a comical moment in CSA's history. Also, Smith has blundered here massively with the postponement. Ravi, should I allow you to comment?
Okay. So it was a complete blunder. So I think if all of us have corporate jobs, right? We lost Daniel. Oh, shucks.
Yeah.
So all of us had corporate jobs, right? So we had once upon a time we've worked in the office. Now, if you had to do something that was against the company's code of conduct, right? Chances are they won't let you do it, right? So if you say, listen, I want to have a braai on top of the building or the balcony, and they say no, you're going to cause a fire, are you still going to go and have a braai on the balcony? Right? Chances are no, you don't. You want to keep your job, right? So my thing is this, right? From what I understand, they put this proposal on the Ministry of Sports desk. They didn't approve anything. Nothing happened. They didn't nudge in the right direction. I don't know if there was a phone call or two. I don't know. But the truth is, nobody authorized this. And basically, the impression I'm getting is these guys were like, Francois and the boys are like, cool, let's just do our own thing and make this happen anyway. You know, we've got the backers, we've got the venue, we've got the players. Why the hell not? And the problem I have with it is that it goes against the highest authority of sports in the country. You just can't simply do it. Otherwise, every other sporting code has carte blanche to do whatever the hell they want. You know, so that's my 5 cents around this. And a lot of people I've met during the course of the afternoon, we went for a walk in Sandton. They've had varying disagreements about it. They said Smith is a visionary, all of those funny things. And I'm like, but this is still not going to happen. How are these people visionary if this is not going to happen? Obviously they didn't get all of their checks in place, clearly. And I agree with Shayla, this is an absolute blunder in many respects.
Yeah.
Absolutely embarrassing, actually.
It is.
We need to get our stuff together. Graham Smith says, do his job. Get your stuff together, guys. Come on.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the postponement and if it's going to happen at a later stage. But we're still talking about now the format itself and some of the comments over here. John Ray says that we'll just be happy to see some 6s and 4s, but also agree with Ravi. Cannot see it becoming more than just an exhibition. And Dan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, look, I feel for our local cricketers. Like, we have so many talented guys, and you don't actually see them unless they play MSL. Like, all these 4-day cricketers, they don't show those games. They don't show any of the momentum 50 over games. They showed like 10 of them last season. So it's cool that a group of players will get some exposure on TV. Finally they're getting some sort of recognition. Do I think that this sort of 3-man 36 over cricket will catch on? No, I don't. I do think that we might see like Pro 20s between exhibition sides sort of develop, like Mpho was saying earlier. We might have something similar where they just pick 3 random teams and they all play, or 4 random teams and they just play T20s, double headers on a day. Like 2 T20 games in a day made up of random players. I'm always for more cricket, even if it is T20 cricket. I'd rather probably watch T20 cricket than no cricket. But I agree here with Jean-Andre. It's just an exhibition. Oaks have had 0 sport during lockdown, and again, I'm glad someone, I'm not sure who it was, but someone just said, like, guys, we need to do something here. Whether they got the right permission or went through the right channels is a discussion we'll get into now. But aren't you sort of just glad to see somebody giving a shit Finally we're seeing cricket happening on TV.
Yeah. And that goes into Ian's comment, and I agree with it. It's just giving players a run around his school SA right now could do with some feel-good moments. Maybe like the English T20 finals day, 3 games from early till late. Oh, what a day.
I love him, but I disagree with him wholeheartedly here.
How many beers?
If the World Cup in Australia goes ahead at the end of the year, we basically wasted time with this botched up experiment right here. And you had a golden opportunity with AB de Villiers coming back in now. You could have had exactly what Dan and company were sharing on the PDFs and stuff, the images on the Cricket Fanatics Twitter page, where we spoke about Team Blue, Team Red, and so on. You could have actually had those battles in an actual T20 match. And we would have been in a better position to rate and defend the selection at the end of the year. We can actually say AB is actually fit to play. At least he's played some cricket in the country.
Don't you think that this could help in selection in terms of giving game situations? So, for instance, you've got 6 overs. You need to be able. You've got 4 fast bowlers essentially in your side. Guys need to bowl Yorkers to prevent wickets. It's brilliant runs and get more wickets. And guys need to learn how to bat late in an innings, without a start, without giving themselves a lot more time to get in. Don't you think that could help in T20 selection, especially around that all-rounder spot or even that 6th batsman spot, the guy who can come in the 16th over and hit hard?
So I agree with you. So I think in terms of specific situations, like crisis situations, you got 8 balls to go. You're batting with a bowler who's on the other end, on the opposite crease. I understand those are the type of situations that you would occur in an international setting. But my thing is that I think these guys are going to goof around when this does eventually happen. I see Tabrez opening the batting. I don't know why I have this vision in my mind, but I see Tabrez trying to open the batting, and he's going to be like, "I'm better than Reza Hendricks. I'm just going to start slug sweeping the guys," and he's going to get bowled middle stump by Chris Morris. That's what I foresee happen.
Yeah, but
you guys know what devil advocate is here.
Yes. I honestly
imagine
the insight.
Imagine you sat these guys in the change room though and said, "Okay, guys, like you were saying, it will put them in situations. You do need to bowl Yorkers, and will help with death bowling and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, T20 cricket is the best way to prepare for T20 cricket. But beside that, what was I going to say now? Yeah, I've gone completely blank. But what would have been cool would be to see because we sort of know who we want to take to the World Cup, but all those outside guys, imagine putting like 11 youngsters, like your Vian Libbers and your Gerald Katsias and your Rickletons and your Keshiles and those oaks, all those guys that we sort of, and say like, have a go at the best in the country. Do you think they're going to fart us around? Do you think a bunch of 20-year-olds fighting for international selection are going to go stuff around on TV with a chance to face Rabada and things like that? No ways. And if you sit them down in the change room and you say like, guys, you are fighting for World Cup selection here. This isn't like a marketing gimmick. This is where we're picking our World Cup squad from. We've got this and we've got an India series, and from that we have to pick a World Cup squad. And let these young guys face. I'd love to watch Gerald Katsia bowl to AB de Villiers. Can you imagine? I mean, that'd be incredible.
I'll share a piece of history with you guys. Now, exactly the way Dan described it. Now, this is for a 50-over match which took place 27 years ago. It was between an Australian 11 and Australian 18. And here you had a situation where Glenn McGrath was bowling to Matthew Hayden, and he was dispatching him all over the ground. Had that interaction not happened, I'm pretty confident we wouldn't have seen Matthew Hayden play a vital role in the white ball setup. I think we wasted a lot of time and resources on this event, and I agree. There are a lot of comments here saying, "But this is for charity. Let it go." My thing is, yeah, sure, do it for charity, but you've also got a major milestone at the end of the year if it does indeed happen. do you really want to be caught with your pants down? I mean, are we really going to send another mediocre team to the World Cup hoping for the best possible result?
So my thing is that I don't think that this is something maybe this is just my point of view, but I think this is an idea that was brought to Cricket South Africa, not the other way around. I don't think Cricket South Africa created this event and then said, okay, we're looking for sponsors. I think it was an event that was came up to with a brainchild, like Mpho said, and they've decided, okay, cool, this is a nice opportunity to get our guys back on the field again, get people back into talking about cricket, seeing live cricket again, with the fitness levels of them. Not a lot of them, this is their off time. So a lot of them haven't really been out there practicing cricket and getting to the nets. And we all know, we've heard from players on the lockdown series talking about the only way they can get back to full match fitness is by playing cricket again in the nets, etc. I don't think that we can't have that idea that Dan's talking about. And what me and Dan have had this conversation before. I've had this conversation with Alistair about having an under 23 team take on a Proteas team and etc. and a A and B side and having them play against each other in a massive tournament. I think those things can maybe still happen. It's not one or the other. I think this is just one day that's going to be taken out. It's not like it's going to just eliminate every other possibility of playing cricket. And it may be us having this conversation, if people from the right stature are watching it, maybe they will take that idea and maybe run with it. What will it take to organize a competition like that during COVID-19 during the lockdown right now? That's another story, because now you have to bring on a much bigger pool of people that need to get tested and need to get checked out and before the tournament starts and get the right facilities, etc. Mpho, what's your thoughts on that?
Yes, but so essentially teams are allowed to get back and train. I think that's what government approved. So cricket teams are allowed to go back to the Wanderers, Centurion, St. George's and train and do net sessions. And essentially that's what the ICC requires in the first level of return. Individual training, individual practices, just like England did a month ago with their players. We can do that. And we can aim for a T20 tournament for India come here, should they get approval. And in that, maybe the youngsters will get an opportunity. And I do think Cricket Africa need to aim for that as well. So essentially, yes, we're going to have 3-team cricket whenever it's going to happen, but also we need to look towards getting the men and the women onto the field and playing T20s against each other. Because I think that's where strength versus strength is going to happen. It's competitive. It's great for you to see on TV. And that's what you want. That's what you want to get. And it takes 6 weeks to get Kagiso fully fit, all your fast bowlers fully fit, as Dr. Mandra said. And so that's where I think having this little situation happening with the exhibition, it breaks up your timelines, because we've got about 6 weeks now until the 1st of August, which is when India's supposed to come. So we kind of need to figure out how we're going to navigate that. I do get that, and that's why the 27th was perfect, because they'll play, have fun, and then after that they get into their normal training regimes, and then we will be ready for India. But I do think that now it's going to be very creative from Smith and the team to figure out what day they're going to have this, because Rain want this to happen, and Rain's a sponsor for Cricket South Africa. And essentially what they did was, here's an idea, and then Cricket South Africa said we could get it on TV. And I think that's the only thing, because you don't want to lose revenue rights for having no cricket on TV. And we've already started losing money because we're not having, South Africa's not playing India, South Africa's not playing the West Indies, South Africa didn't play Sri Lanka. And so it's an easy way to keep the money in CSA's pocket rather than giving it back to SuperSport.
Yeah. But Dan, I want to bring you back into this with a comment over here, because Spirit has something interesting to say. I think this 3-team format is high intensity, high pressure, and high psych for everybody. I think it will do very well with the crowds because it's super exciting. I'm just confused about that particular part, but you get double the opposition from less the allowance in time and overs. Danny,
yeah, I mean, is it more high intensity than T20 cricket? You know, it's just a bunch of dudes trying to smack 4s and 6s for 20 overs instead of 12 overs. You know, it's just fast bowlers hoping that they don't get absolutely punished for 4 overs now instead of 3 overs. You know, how different is it really to T20 cricket? I mean, I like, if you want to excite the game, let's have double headers of T20 cricket. You know, I don't think T20 cricket needs to be made more exciting. You know, T20 cricket's only been around for what, like 14, 15 years. And already people are like bored of it. We've had to come up with the 100 already. After 15 years of T20 cricket, we're already bored of it. We need the 100. How long is the 100 going to last? When the 100, when people get bored of the 100, then we need this. How long is this going to last?
With the T10
the
as well.
high, the high intensity stuff I agree with. Like a guy like Sisanda Magali, he's going to shine. The only time he really gets to shine in front of a crowd is at the MSL. He's going to come out and bowl Yorkers. South Africans don't bowl Yorkers. We're flipping scared of Yorkers, apparently. Like, we try this slower ball bouncer cutter shit, and it just doesn't work. And Magala's like 6 out of 6. Yeah, Magala's 6 out of 6 in the block hole. And, that high intensity stuff, he's gonna show his worth at this thing, I think. I'm going to look like a knob if he gets absolutely punished now. But he's the kind of guy that, like, I'm looking forward to seeing, and the high intensity stuff that was mentioned in that comment will obviously contribute to that. But, at what point do you stop? At what point do you say, when does it stop becoming exciting? Why not just get Chris Gale, AB de Villiers, and put a bowling machine at one end and just have them, feed balls to those two all day for 2 hours? Like, where does it stop? Like,
wow, guys.
Sorry, that was a bit of a rant. I had to get that off my chest, man.
Ravi, there's one for you. You can't blame Smith. At least he's trying to get players on the field. From Bevan, one of our loyal supporters.
Okay,
the Bev.
Bevan. Okay, so Bevan, I'll respectfully disagree with you there. So I think once you take a position of leadership, you're unfortunately accountable for the whole show, right? And I agree, it's not just Graham Smith, it's Jacques Paul, the CEO, the acting CEO as well. They both needed to be accountable here. They roped in some stakeholders. They got this whole thing, and they got an outside investor in the form of Mark Nicholas as well. I think he's one of the bigger stakeholders, actually. And unfortunately, this is where the buck stops. It stops with the leadership. How could you go ahead with the tournaments without getting the official go-ahead from the Ministry of Sports? It's absolutely embarrassing. I don't think anyone has actually highlighted this leading up to the discussion tonight. But if I was the Cricket South Africa management team, as it is, we've had our squabbles and our problems. This was our golden opportunity to get out of this rut, to showcase the great values that we as South Africans have. And unfortunately, we're back to square one. As I want to understand how Graham Smith's feeling right now, because I would feel like very, how do I put this? Embarrassed. I would absolutely feel embarrassed and gutted about this.
Can I jump in here?
Of course, I was going to ask you the question next anyway.
So, no, but essentially at the press conference, he said he was 95%. This tournament was 95% of the way there. That's what he said when he was asked the question.
Yeah.
And he even said that they had approved it. So now all of a sudden on Friday, there's a backtrack. Saturday, there's a backtrack. It honestly, it reeks of inexperience and quite frankly, a little bit of privilege. That he can stand up there and hand in a proposal that's been approved and get everybody on board to have it going. I understand he wants to get players on the field. Rugby wants to get players on the field. Soccer wants to get players on the field. They're busy trying to fight a FIFA deadline. But you're sitting here going, no, we're going to do it when the ministry hasn't approved it. It just says that maybe you feel like you own the world. And I do think that CSA should honestly be scrutinized even further for this, because this is a shambles.
You know what this reminds me of? There's a meme out there, and I want all the fans to Google this when they get the chance. There's a meme of Elon Musk in 1999, and it says there, "I build websites," right? And then 20 years later, it says there, "I build whatever the hell I want." Right? This is the exact replica of this. This is the exact mirror image of the stuff. We just gotta go ahead and do whatever we want to. And unfortunately, how it goes.
Graham Smith is the kind of guy. Graham Smith's the kind of guy I would call on to score 100 on the 5th day of a test match against Mitchell Johnson. He's not really the guy I want making executive decisions and trying to people manage and organize tournaments and stuff like that. Like Like, are we surprised, guys? Like, are we surprised that it didn't no one's surprised. It's actually kind of it's a bit funny. Come on, like.
Dan, there's a billionaire involved in this. Like, I don't. If I did this for Paul Harris, I'd be fine. I would be fine.
And just so the
if
fans
I told Paul Harris nothing was going to happen,
about, by the way.
And it doesn't happen, I'd be fine. What? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree.
This is Paul Harris, the CEO of First Rand Limited.
Yeah, guys, this isn't Paul Harris. This is like
he's a billionaire. This is not Paul Harris.
Yeah, this is some other dude.
Yeah, a lot of people were on Twitter saying that it was tagging Paul Harris in the comments. Initially, when I was listening to it live and I heard Paul Harris, initially I was like, boom, at Paul Harris. Then I deleted the tweet immediately when I realized, wait, it's not actually Paul Harris. So we all
climbed into him. Your guys climbed into him hard.
I wonder what his Twitter feed looked like, or his notifications must have looked like. How many times, if he can tell us how many times he's been tagged in on a post for this tournament, it would be shocking. I want to bring up another comment from Isabel here. At what point does it stop being exciting? We must always keep the love, but there's always place to grow intellectually. And that's the psych I'm talking about. Cricket is very smart sport throughout, and taking the public on this journey is a good thing for society to become better part of. What do you guys think?
100%.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree with that statement, but I think this is a huge deviation in terms of what they were trying to achieve with 3T cricket. I think this engaging with the crowdsourcing some ideas could have worked very well, or hand in hand with a T20 match, a standard T20 match. Get 12 players on, activate the 12th man as a super sub, like we did in 2005. I don't know if you guys remember that. And if you really want to engage with the crowd, they can identify out of a pool of players who the 12th man should be. Right? Is it Riley Rousseau? For argument's sake, is it Chris Morris? I'm not saying the Colpacks must come back. That's a discussion for another.
That's another podcast, Ravi.
Another one.
Don't get dad all excited here.
Argument's sake, if AB de Villiers.
That's what we should have. They should make a team of Colpacks and let them play the South Africans. There you go. Led by AB de Villiers.
And they vote on Twitter, and the people vote.
Exactly. I'm in. I'll pay $500 for that ticket, bro.
Yeah. So if you guys are watching that's free. That's a freemium from Ravi Reddy to you. If you guys want to make that a crowdsourced a T20 match between 12 players, I think that could work magically, and it will tie into your efforts at the end of the year.
Yes, but the problem is they didn't want to be, because remember in soccer you've got the Carling Black Label where the fans vote for the players and they also vote for the substitutes. So you don't want. I think it's a great idea for cricket, but I think they were trying to run other people's ideas because this is the world first, even though it's LMS plus ×3, which is I think
it's an LMS match. It's an LMS match.
It is 8 players, last man stands. What more do we want?
Exactly.
I bet you these Oaks are going to play in vests. Like, I can already tell you these guys are going to be wearing fucking vests. Like,
and shorts.
And shorts. And there's going to be like pink gloves and shit. Like, oh my God.
What? Pink gloves. Oh gosh. Board shorts, old school fluffy.
So guys, I know we've spoken about a lot of negatives. I have a lot of negatives of why we think it shouldn't happen, why we don't agree with the whole tournament. Let's talk about a little bit of some positives. Is there any positives that we can take out of this particular tournament? Is there any positives that you guys can see, or do you guys want to just move on to the teams and let's discuss that?
No, I mean there absolutely are positives. Like I mentioned, seeing somebody trying to put cricket in front of fans, that's always a positive. We want more cricket. Televising it, seeing guys that we don't normally get to see on TV, that's awesome. Having guys like Magala who will bowl to the best that South Africa has to offer, and we'll see like his true value. He's one of the most underrated white ball bowlers in South Africa.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's going to be exciting, cool. It's like there's the novelty aspect, but it's not that different to T20 cricket. I think it'll confuse the average viewer, to be completely honest. There are positives, but Yeah, I think if they just sat down for a day and just sort of asked, how can we improve this? How can we make it worth the players' time, the fans' time? How can it add value to South African cricket? They could make a handful of changes that everyone would agree with, and it would be sort of a better tournament as a whole. Just my opinion.
I think you should look at this as the palate dampener before the actual meal. You know what I mean? So just like the bread that you get at Ocean Basket before you have your meal.
Please bring up Rian's comment there.
I wanted to say, Ian says getting the sport back is a huge plus. We've got Con over here saying that the 3TC is rubbish. Ian also saying that I poor Harrow because I feel sorry for Harrow too. We've got Rian that says AB is the positive.
Yes,
so let's talk about that. Okay, let me first, before we get into the AB thing, let's just bring up the teams quickly. I'm going to bring up the teams for everybody to see if it doesn't obviously stuck a bit, but everybody quickly to see. So we've got make a big screen quickly for you guys to see. So we've got KG's Kingfishers, Quinny's Kites, AB's Eagles.
I'm going to stop you right there, Khalid. Quinny's Kites, can we just talk about this name for God's sake?
Ravi, can we just hold the horses a little bit before we get into the names? Let's just say Quinny's 8.
Jeez.
We've got KG here as captain, Quinton as captain, AB de Villiers as captain. So
yes, boy.
There's a lot of great positives here. The likes of Janneman Malan being here as a youngster. Chris Morris, a lot of people wanted to see him back. Clinton Stearman, which was quite a surprise to me. A lot of people have gotten to know him more with the longer format, but he's an excellent bowler. We've got a guy like Lutu Sapamla. Okay, we know that he's in the T20 squad often. Calvin Rayner here to get seen, Sasanda Magala, Junior Dala. So yeah, some excellent team. I think some excellent teams and players here, guys. But let's talk about the main factor first. AB de Villiers.
Can we talk about the guys?
Is this about? Was this tournament a lot about getting AB in front of people again and showing that he's interested in coming back? Is that what you think this play was?
Nah, I think they needed it to gain traction, on TV, and AB sells. Nobody like him or hates him. AB sells. He brings fans to the game. He's been playing MSL without showing or without being part of the Proteas side. So I don't think it really is indicative of him, coming back. As much as I want him back, I think we'll only really know if he's in the squad that plays against India. If he's not in the squad against India, he's not coming back. But yeah, I think we can climb into those names now as well. Ravi, I don't know if you want to.
Ravi doesn't pull any punches, guys. Please note that all of these opinions. Let me just put a disclaimer in here quickly, guys. Please note that all of these opinions are opinions of the people on the screen, not the opinions of Cricket Fanatics magazine. Let's go, Ravi.
I just get a feeling, I'm going to be called into the principal's office tomorrow. I just get that feeling that Grace was going to be like, "Hey, Ravi, we need to get you in the office. We need to have a chat with you." And as I get to the driveway, I'll be driving past the Bang Moroe. "Hey, man, how's it going? Are you enjoying the driveway? Cool, okay."
He's gonna whack you.
Peaky Blinders, bro.
That series you need to watch that, not Desperate Housewives. By the way, that's a true story. He watches Desperate Housewives. Okay, you're asking me about AB de Villiers specifically. Is that? Do you think?
Yeah, let's start with AB. Let's start with AB. It's the major talking point. Let's start with AB.
I think there's two valid points that has been brought up in the comments alone. AB being brought back to a game where there isn't an actual crowd presence seems like a waste, right? That's one. And two, you had one opportunity to bring AB back to a local game, and you choose, apart from this Ronnie Spartan stint earlier this year.
That's where you're wrong, Ravi. That's where you're wrong. Don't forget that Star Sports is also involved in the streaming. So AB brings a massive viewership to that side of the game in India.
Okay.
Mm.
So, but my point is that the one time he decided to bring this brother back, he's not representing the country, or he's not playing in an actual T20 game, which is going to yield the benefits for the various teams or the various squads that are going to be selected for the end of the year. So for me, I just thought it was an absolute waste. Yes, okay, so Star Sports is invested; they're a stakeholder. But I mean, what does that mean? I mean, yeah, sure, people are going to watch AB de Villiers play, but I mean, for what is the long term benefit? How is that going to benefit the South African cricket team? That's my 5 cents around it.
But that's why I bring you guys back to the point that I don't think this was something that Cricket South Africa were looking at to do until the idea was put in front of them.
So I think, yeah, go ahead, Mpho.
No, so what I think is that AB brings in eyes to the game because people haven't seen him play in a while. And it also, because of the selection committee that it was Graham Smith, Mark Bouch, and the transformation committee, it also tells everybody that AB's in the mix, that AB need to come back. If AB didn't come back for this, and we had the 24 Protea players who are in there and thereabouts, had he been selected for India, it'd have been a whole lot of kettle of fish. Just like the whole Dale Steyn question at the press conference, and they said that Dale's unavailable. So that's essentially why he's there. He's there to bring in the money so they can sell it around the world. And also he's there to let everybody know that he's willing to do things that CSA wants to do and that he's a team player.
Maybe he sells tickets, I agree. But again, this is an event which is exclusively just viewership, apart from the 10 or 15 journos that will be at the stadium. And I suppose he's, I don't know if they're going to do it by pay-per-view or live streaming or whatever, but you're quite right. AB de Villiers does sell broadcasting or sells this whole concept. I agree. If he wasn't there, I think we'll probably see only a third of a subscription or third of the investment that we would have got.
Yeah, guys, you must also understand though, like just for the quality of the cricket, each team only gets 4 batsmen, right? So you only have 12 batsmen in the whole of South Africa that you can choose to hit 4s and 6s. You know, who are the best 12 batsmen in South Africa who can hit massive 4s and 6s? It's AB de Villiers. So even if you think he's the biggest duelist in the world and you don't want him back, in terms of pure viewership, who's going to make it the most attractive cricket to watch? It's AB de Villiers. You know, there's no way you can have a format like this and exclude the best or one of the most devastating batsmen in white ball cricket. You know,
I love AB de Villiers. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so
and they made him captain. Obviously, they had to make him captain. It was like they had to make the 3 biggest names in South African cricket: AB, Rabada, and Quinny. You know, you make them captains. Like, how much of a role is the captain going to have? None. But you know, you have to make the big names the captains.
Yeah, so we got an interesting question here from Zubair. It's one of my friends. Happy birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday. Happy returns, people.
I feel that we should have more pride in the Proteas team in all formats, and if AB is put in, the Proteas sends the wrong message to the youngsters looking to make the SA team. So what do you guys think of that one?
I agree.
That's what I said, the same thing, but I don't know. I think for a tournament like this, bringing AB back was vital, like Dan said, especially with the Star Sports coming on board, I think, as broadcasters and people going to watch it on TV to bring eyes to the TV. I mean, everybody's going to watch if AB's there. I don't think, even if they don't like him, they're going to watch it. So either or for this particular tournament that we're talking about, others think that it must be seen as a charity match. It must be seen as an exhibition match. It mustn't be seen as anything more than that. And I think that if you look at it from that point of view, my only concern was the format. The only thing that I have is another different format. We have so many different formats these days. People complained when T20 came into the system. People complained when 50 over came into the system initially. So people complained when T20 came into the system, and then people complained when T10 came in the system. And there's 6 sides. There's so many different formats, and that was my only concern. Having a T20 competition would have been maybe more would have been better. But I think the reason they didn't go with T20 is mainly because people are not match fit or match ready.
I'm going to turn this thing on its head, right? So if this is indeed an exhibition match, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? Where are all the women cricketers? Where's Dane van die Kerk? Where's Mazarn Cup? Why aren't they playing in this tournament? If it is, I mean, you can't tell me that they can't play in this tournament because it's exclusively a men's game here. It's an exhibition match. It's for charity.
It's an oversight. It's an oversight. But Graham was asked about this, and he just said he didn't want to open up the ambit of having more players in there, which I think needed a follow-up question, because essentially you could have had two women's players, one batsman, one bowler in there, just to make it more interesting. But I do think that his main priority is getting the men's team up and running, and this is how you kickstart the engine again for him.
Yeah.
That's how he sees it.
Yeah, it's Ravi. It's just a little go-kart race before you go. You know, it's a little go-kart station before, just to get the blood boiling. You know what I mean? You know,
the Fast and Furious series. Did you see a go-kart in Dominic Toretto driving a go-kart? You need to have a Mustang here.
So, and also, guys, yeah, I think it was also from a CSA point of view. I'm trying to be as positive as possible. I'm trying to think of all the angles. And if I was sitting in James Smith or and Jacques Fall's position over here, it's also a possibility to sign a massive deal maybe in the future with a big company. I mean, Cricket South Africa has had sponsorships fall by the wayside. We need as much support as we possibly can. I think this is a win-win for both. Builds a good relationship for both. Maybe we have a future investor down the line that can really help us. I don't know how long Rain's been involved with Cricket South Africa. I don't actually know the details on that. We wanted to get one of them. I wanted to get actually Paul Harris on the show and have a chat with him, and maybe we can do that in the future, hopefully. But and chat to him about that. But from that perspective, I think we need to look at it just as one match. And I'm glad that they only decided to do one match. I think it would have been chaotic if they decided to do more than one match. So Isabella says over here, people always complain. It's not exactly new. It's just new. They'll get used to it like they've gotten used to T20 kickers in 50 overs.
No.
We should bring Isabella on, man. Add that like extra dynamic, just to upset Ravi. Ravi's looking too comfortable there. He's always happy.
Yeah,
You need to upset him.
How about no? How about no?
Like in my opinion, it's not sustainable to keep making changes when things get boring. When they lose, when people start losing interest. Like Ram Slam took how many years to go from packed stadiums during like just normal league games to like an empty final. That happened in like less than a decade. So clearly the answer is not to keep making changes. That's not the answer. You can't keep evolving. It doesn't.
You know what the answer is?
Like I was saying, what's next? What's after this? When this stops being exciting, what's next? Are you gonna like bring animals onto the field? Like seriously, how do you keep revamping it? Like
you said
the answer to this is, for all South Africans, as we know, the answer is winning. If we win more people will watch the sport.
Exactly, and you can't win without AB de Villiers. Oh, there's the end it. We're done. That's finished. Discussion's done. Game over.
Prediction's gonna explode now.
Should we make predictions here? Who we think's gonna win?
Let's make a quick prediction, because guys, we want to finalize. First of all, we want to find out if this competition is going to go forward, because it's now been postponed. It was supposed to be on the 27th of June and it's been postponed. You guys can check the article on our website. We do have all the details there. We will keep you updated, and all four of us will also keep you updated on our personal platforms as much as we can. We would like to do, if Mpho is interested, we would like to do down the line a preview, and I got him here on live now. I can't hide away. So now we want to do like a preview before the tournament when it does happen, and we can have a preview, etc., and maybe talks after the game, etc., about this thing. But we'll talk about that closer to the time. We want to keep you guys as informed as possible. So just stay tuned to Cricket Fanatics magazine and everything that we are doing. Let's just have our predictions. Who's your favorite team? What team are you going to back? And you guys are going to be very surprised about the team that I'm going to pick.
Not Quinny's Kites. They have, sorry, I'm just looking at the teams here. Nah. Too many bullies there for me. So not Quinny's Kites. And they've got a Kock name. So not going to happen. It's going to be AB versus... AB's Eagles are going to take... Oh, actually, no. Yes. No. KG's Kingfishers are going to win it.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah. People are going to be surprised by Stearman and Morris and Shamo.
Yeah. KG's Kingfishers are the only team that has a spinner, a recognized spinner on it. And I think, I honestly think that Stearman and Morris and Shamsi are a very good bowling attack with KG. And then the top...
They don't have that fourth bowler really though. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Oh, they've got Rabada. Sorry, he's at the top. Never mind.
Kagiso's at the top.
Yeah.
So and you've got Riza, Janeman, Faf, and Heinrich.
Yeah.
Me, I think they're the guys.
Yeah.
Ravi, who's your team?
You're asking me for an overall winner of this tournament. I think the Ministry of Sports. I think they're the overall winner of this tournament. But okay, now jokes aside, I personally think AB Eagles have a good shot here. Quinny's Kite, a ridiculous name. Can somebody explain to me that name? I'm sorry. They've got like the Knight Rider logo in there as well. I don't get that.
It's a bird. A kite is a bird. Ravi.
A kite's a bird.
All of these things are birds. All of these names are after birds. So
still Kock. And surely like the AB albatrosses, like that. No.
Guys, I want AB's team to win because
isn't a quail a bird? Isn't there a bird called a quail?
Yes, quail is a bird.
Quinny's quails, AB's albatrosses. Who actually did you know someone got paid to come up with these names? That's someone's job.
Yeah.
I'll bet you
Can you believe that?
Shamsi was like, I'm
majority of our players are in AB's team. So Aiden, Rassi, Carl, Sasanda, and Dile.
I'll tell you about AB, right? So I think they've got the best shot because Rassi van der Dussen is my informed man. Aiden Markram's got a lot to prove in a T20 sense. If he's really going to make the most of this ridiculous opportunity, and I'm going to underline ridiculous, I think they're going to make this one stick and they're going to make it count.
They currently have AB's team also currently has the best T20 bowlers in the country in their team. Speedsters I'm talking about. Antile Beklikwayo, Sasanda Magala, and Lungingiri. I haven't seen enough of Junior Dala to rate him at T20 level yet. But I'm saying, I know that Lungi, we always turn to Lungi in the deaths. We always turn, Sasanda, people turn to him in the death, and Antile Beklikwayo in the middle overs normally. But I know this is a lot shorter format. I think they will strangle the opposition, but that's just our take. We've got a lot of guys in the Quan section over here. Dean van Rooyen saying Quinny's Cacks. Cage, Dean van Rooyen, KG's team for the win. Ian Turner, gold, KG, silver, AB, bronze, Quinton de Kock.
I do think that people should watch out for Sasanda Magala. I really do think so. Junior Dollar's done well in the MSL. So I think guys are very good. And I think that's what gives AB's team an edge, but they don't have a spinner. I think that for me is the issue. Because in this format of the game, if you can take pace off the ball, because you only have 6 outfielders, essentially. If you can take pace off the ball, that is key. It's either you bowl a Yorker or you allow the ball to spin and take pace off of it, which is why I will go for KG's team because I think Tebrez will be the guy. He'll be the guy. Field placings are going to be awkward for people. There's no slip. Like guys are literally going to be hanging around watching the ball fly everywhere. But it's what it is.
If I can just interrupt you, just going to that fielding thing, I'm just reading the rules here. Point 9 says, match organizers can allow up to 3 additional fielders, either selected by each team or provided by the dugout opponent, in which case fielding restrictions may be applied. I don't know what that means. But if that means like three bras from the dugout side are going to come field and there's going to be like different colors there.
No, yeah, and essentially that's where the confusion lies. Even the whole I think that's where the confusion lies, because normally if you're going to play eight players, you should play with 8 players. Like what are we doing with 3 substitutes? If not, why didn't you just make it 11? And then extend the number of overs that you're batting with, because then I think some players will feel hard done by if you are adding 3 substitutes every time everyone goes on the field, because then guys would be like, no, but I'm sitting at home, I could be out there. So I think that's the thing. But it will be very interesting for them to figure out the field placings with 8 players. I think that's what I'm there to watch, is how they navigate that space, because in an LMS perspective, it's the worst thing for a captain, because you can't put everyone everywhere, and so it's you won't have a slip. You might even have a third man. Do you have a fine leg, even though Kagiso might be wayward because he's unfit? You'll have your guys in the deep, but what else happens? And also you've got the covers open, and that's probably going to be where most of the runs will be scored, because you'll probably have one guy standing there, and they'll just pick it apart.
It's going to be absolute carnage.
I'll tell you something. I'm only going to watch this match for one reason, and that's if David Miller takes the wicket-keeping gloves once again. I would love to see that.
Just for that, I'm going to make Ravi do the report for this match. Just for that.
I'm looking forward to AB de Villiers facing Shamo with 6 players. That is going to be. That's just like not fair, dude. That's clubs like seal clubbing 101. That's what that is. That's just not fair. He's gonna Shamo. If you're watching, just put 6 oaks on the leg side, and then just bowl at his toes.
Not 5 and 1 guy at extra cover boundary for the inside out.
It can be deep cover. Yeah, absolutely. 5, 6. Sorry, and you're fine. 3 car corners. 3 car corners, like straight, regular, and then kind of a square-looking one over there. Then you sort it.
So, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Final words from everybody. Let's start with Dan, and let's move around the table. So Dan, Mpho, and then Ravi.
Did you say final words? I'm excited to see some cricket. Like I said, not really my thing, but I'd rather watch this than no cricket. Hopefully they take it seriously. Hopefully you see like guys getting competitive, so it's almost worth it, and it kind of contributes to the preparation for India, which is in a month or so. It's in August somewhere. Onto you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited, as Dan says, to have cricket back. I'm excited to actually see how they manage the LMS format with 8 fielders, because I think that's going to be very fascinating. KG being a captain for the first time, I think that's going to be pretty cool for us to watch. I think the situational format of this game is going to be interesting for our batsmen, especially trying to figure out who actually can be a big hitter with a limited number of balls. And I just want to see Sasanda prove to everybody finally that he deserves to be in green and gold. I think the man's going to bowl 18 Yorkers, and he's going to surprise everybody. He's going to come out with the most wickets in this tournament.
Mr. Reddy, lay it on us.
I'm looking forward to the test match between England and the West Indies. 2 weeks. I'll happily do any podcast any of you want to do. I'm confident that it's established before. I'm looking forward to an actual test match. This is still a bunch of. I'm not even going to use a superlative here, but I agree with Mpho's sentiments. I think it'll be great to see Magala coming into the fold. I think he's a serious investment. I'm not going to be taking this exhibition match any more serious than I would do Donald Trump's views on global warming. Honestly, I just over to you, Khalid.
Cool. Thank you, everybody, for joining into this amazing podcast that we had today. I thought it was a very interesting conversation, different views, different types of opinions about this tournament that we're waiting to take place. We're still going to try to finalize, guys. We will get a podcast going or something out there and obviously articles, etc. on the site when we get confirmation of when the tournament will happen. Stay tuned for more live shows that we're going to be bringing you. You know that we have the Legends with Ravi. We've ended the On Lockdown series, and we will be changing the name and having still interviews coming up, but it won't be the Lockdown series anymore. I think it's about time that we call it at 50 and out. So thanks a lot for everybody for joining in. Please like this video, share this with your friends, click the subscribe button, the notification bell for future videos, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks, guys, and stay safe.